An eargasm of learning and a no-fuss show. Welcome to the Creative Talk Podcast, where you can learn straightforward topics about branding, digital entrepreneurship, online business, and many more with your charming host, John Santos, along with inspiring entrepreneurs, creators, and thought leaders worldwide.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creative Talk with me, John Santos, and we have a special guest. This guy, guys, he's just amazing. He is just amazing. And you will find out why. You will find out why. Our guest for today, a brand designer, a strategist, educator, podcaster, business coach. Wow. And the list goes on. And the list goes on. You know, our guest for today is the founder of Just Creative. There you go, guys. The founder of Just Creative. If you don't know what Just Creative is, then you're living in a cave. Just Creative is an award-winning branding and design consultancy. Let's all welcome our special guest. I'm a fan. Jacob Cass, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, mate. I love that energy. So much energy. It's 8 p.m. for me here, so I'm cooling down, but I love it.
No, man, I said this off cam and I will say it again. Jacob, thank you for spending the time to be with us here in the show. I know you're a very busy person. Time zone is different, but thank you for being here in the show.
Oh, pleasure. I love chatting shop or talking shop. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So Jacob, let's start with this, man. Because everybody, you know, I'm assuming everybody knows who you are and what you do in our niche, right? You know, in Instagram and in the business concept. But we have this question here in the show that we want to focus on not the Jacob who is successful in this stage, but the story behind. So with that said, who influenced you or what influenced you to be in this position you are right now? The floor is yours, brother. Feel free to share.
Well, thank you. That's a great question. So I couldn't narrow it down to one person or thing. It's just, you can't do that. So it's definitely, you know, in hindsight, it's a lot of things that contributed to, I guess, the journey that I have been on for the past, you know, I don't know. I think I started 2007 when I started in design. So where it started was, it literally was a hobby, right? I haven't talked about this before, but I pretty much, I morphed people's faces together, my friends' faces together in Photoshop. So this is like my first foray into the world of graphic design, where I just like really poorly blended people's faces together.
Did it look good?
Like just no, no, not at all. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious. So I did all my classmates, and it was a good gag, and we printed it out, and you know, if anyone had like a crush on the next person, you join their faces together, and you know, it was pretty funny. But you know, that got me introduced to Photoshop, and you know, from there I learned about, you know, well, I actually didn't know about it at the time, but graphic design. You know, so that was like my first introduction to that world. And then just fast forward a few years, my careers advisor told me about graphic design. And I was like, "What? Wow, that's what I've been doing." I've just been, you know, creating graphics just for a hobby. You know, I was actually creating invites and things for friends at birthday parties, and it literally was, you know, really, really bad work, but it was, you know, the beginning of my design journey. So the biggest influence to that kind of shifted me to that direction would be my careers advisor. And that's when I focused, and I went to university to learn design or visual communication, you know, and there I had a very, fortunate job offer on my third year of uni, and that's for an agency in New York City. And I was a student in a university, and I went from, you know, being a student to working for Disney in like a matter of, you know, 6 months. So it was like a huge, like skyrocketing career shift from moving from Sydney to New York. But you know, that's really how my career started, I guess. You know, it was a big leap. We can go further, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, wow. I'm for all our listeners and viewers, this guy has been, you know, working with Nintendo and, like what he said, Disney. Wow. Jacob, so how did the shift happen going towards branding. Because guys, for all our listeners and viewers, Jacob is wow, it's just amazing in branding. He's one of my
Making me
pillars.
blush, man.
No, this is true. This is true. And this is why my respect to this guy is just up there, because even though he's so big, I remember this, bro. I remember this when I was starting. I messaged you, and you might forget this, but if you will back read, we exchanged message, and he was so humble. He and that's something that I really cherish. And then I say, when the time comes and my business, start and everything is sorted, I'm gonna get back and I'm gonna invite this guy. And lo and behold, he's here. But having said that, man, going back to the question, how did the transition happen? Now that you're in branding, how did that happen, bro?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll come back to that. I think, the comment about being humble and, just giving back. I just had someone on LinkedIn message me. I wrote back to them and they wrote back to me saying, I can't believe someone like you would write back. And I was like, I'm always surprised at that because, people, they want to connect and that's why you're doing it, right? So why would you ignore people that are trying to connect with you? So, but yeah, that aside, branding, I guess your question, just to recap, is like, how we got into branding. Okay, so I want to make this actionable for our listeners as well, so they can, get some advice, from my story. So it's not just all about me, but how can you use, I guess, my experiences and that I've learned along the way to apply it to your brand and your business. So with that in mind, I'll give a brief backstory of, where I've got to, well, how I got to where I'm now. So I was I focused on identity design, logo design and identity design in the beginning. So that was my passion, and it still is my passion, but that's really how I built my business up. I focused on logo design. That was really what I loved. And, everything I put out there in the marketplace was based around logo design. So my niche and my positioning for my brand was on logo design. So this is a whole other topic, niching, but this is how I started. I chose something to focus on and I got really good at that, and focused on that. And everything I put out there was focused on, hey, this guy is the expert in logo design. So if you're running a business, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be top of mind for? Once you've nailed that, you can branch out, but it's so powerful to have a focus in the beginning and then expand from that. So yes, that my focus was logo design in the beginning. Then I went to brand identity design. And then more recently, I've moved into brand strategy and, linking all those things together. I also know web design and print design and digital marketing, all of that. So that's really why I really love brand strategy now, because it kind of intermixes all of these things as well. But I'm not sure if you wanted to go any deeper on that.
I'm actually amazed, and it's just like watching your favorite movie. but I love that you mentioned all those key components, brother, and that is the introduction to our topic for today. The real score. For all our listeners and viewers out there that is in the entrepreneurial journey, we need someone who is an expert like you, Jacob, to give us branding tips that can be useful, beneficial for business. So the floor is yours, brother. Please do share.
Okay, good question. It's going to be a long answer. It's branding is a big subject.
The floor is yours, man. You're the guest. This is your show, brother.
All right. Well, I'll start where I start with my clients. Often they'll come to me saying, hey, I need a logo, I need a website. Underneath their need for a logo or website is something much larger, right? It's a business problem. They're needing to get, and they need to look professional. And they need to, have the right image. They need to send the right message. But, how do you actually uncover that, the real need, what they're trying to achieve? So I spend time with clients to understand what their goals or ambitions are. And it does take some time to get that. Some people don't even really know that at that point. So you need to kind of dial it back a little bit. Really clarify what your goals are, what you're trying to build. And if it's a personal brand, who you want to become, what do you want to be known for? So many people jump ahead and go straight into execution. They want the logo, they want a website, and they want to get their brand online ASAP. That's a big mistake. It can be done, but you really miss it. You may miss the mark when you're building your brand. So once you've clarified, some of your goals and ambitions, the next step is to understand what your skill set is and what you actually want to be doing and who for, right? Because you're building a business for someone. You're not building it for yourself. Yes, you're going to get the profits and you're going to grow your business, but at the end of the day, you're building a business or a brand for a customer or customers. So you really have to understand, who are you doing this for? When you're building a brand, who are your key customers? But you can't just leave it at that. You have to realize that you're not going to be the only one out there. All right. There's a whole sea of competitors. So you have to understand what else is out on the market.
Probably better than you, right?
Yeah, especially, if you're a startup, you haven't got a brand established. So you really have to understand where does your brand sit in the market? Like, what is the gap? And if there is a gap in the market, why is there a gap in the market? It's not necessarily or always a good thing. So a good analogy there is, if you ask people, well, if there's hot coffee and there's cold coffee, right? If you got the in between, you'd get like lukewarm coffee. But is there a market for that? Probably not. It's probably not as strong. So the idea is that you have to find a gap in the market or create a gap in the market based on your skill sets and what is relevant for the customer as well. All right. But it doesn't end there. So we've looked at your company, we've looked at your customers and your competitors. So those three things, you have to find, the sweet spot in the middle. What makes you different? Why should someone choose you?
Yeah. There you go, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. But that's really what branding is about. Like, why should someone choose you for the price point that you set? What does the customer value and why does it matter to them? So this is the crux of branding. And a lot of what I'm talking about is that basically the internal side of branding. Often people just, see the external aspects, the logo, the fonts, the colors, and they think value, that's branding.
Right? The aesthetic value. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to understand that, you build a brand from the ground up, you need to have solid foundations. And, we can get more into that, but, what is a solid foundation? It's having, a bigger purpose apart from just making money. It's having a clear vision. It's having a clear mission. Yeah. It's having clear, core values that, resonate with who you are as a company and also what will resonate with your customers as well. So this is the foundation that you build your brand on. So what we've really talked about so far is, all the internal aspects of the brand. Once you have this, then you can move into, how you express this to the market. What message do you want to send? What story do you want to tell? So then you'd look at your brand's personality. What type of voice does your brand have? Are you funny? Are you premium? Are you elitist? Are you, what are you? Your brand's going to have a voice just like a person. And the more you can connect, well, the more human your brand is, the better you're going to connect with your key customers.
Jacob,
that's why we give personality to our brands.
Jacob, just I want to shoot a question there. Have you ever experienced clients that would say they believe that this is their voice, their character in something, and here you are, an expert, and they hired you, you're there and you see differently. Does that happen in your journey?
Yeah. So branding is about alignment, right? So it has to be your brand should be authentic to yourself, depending on what the brand is, but it should be authentic to yourself if this is a personal brand, for example, but it also should be relevant and matter to the customer as well. So there has to be some alignment there. So if you're the funny, quirky guy and, the customer doesn't really care for that and they're a very serious person, that connection is not going to be there. But if you're a joker and, you're trying to connect with, the guy down at the pub who's a bit of a jokester, that's going to be a strong connection. So when I talk about alignment, you have to realize it should be authentic to you and your brand and your company, your vision, as well as what is relevant to the customer as well.
Nice. Yes, please continue. I mean, the tips. We're so excited, and I can't wait to review the video. It's like I can use this. Everyone can use this, right?
Yeah. There's a lot, there's a lot of different buckets of branding. So just giving you like the process that I'd go through with a client. And, there's a lot that I'm talking about here, but would spend time on each of these sections and look at them and come up with the right strategy and the right, roadmap to go forward. So just to recap, the internal aspects of brand, the purpose, the foundation of the brand, the purpose, vision, mission, the values, and then how you're positioned in the marketplace. So looking at your customer, looking at your competitors and your company. Okay, internal aspects of your brand. The external, we talked about the brand personality. How are you going to talk to your customers? What is your voice? From there, then you can start crafting, what is your right message? What stories are you going to tell? And stories are more memorable, right, than just, marketing. So people remember stories. And by stories, it can be, to give you an example, but, if you just like, let's give you an extreme example of, if you're just you're selling a product and it's like you're flashing $99 for the product. It's all about the product. There's a sale and you're competing on price. A story involves emotion, right? And people connect with emotions. So that's the difference. You're going to, there's going to be characters. For example, let's say an ad, there could be characters and, you could follow the characters, go with their journey. And then you could have a product placement at the end. And that's much more memorable and much more connecting than like a flashing ad. So when you're going through your brand building process, you have to consider what stories are you going to tell to send the right message and to, promote your brand. So this is the next step. From there, then you can move into what most people know is, the execution of, the logo and the identity of the website, of the brand, sorry. And this can include things like your fonts, your colors, your logos, textures, patterns, art direction, photography. And then after that, you create the identity, then you go create the other touch points for your brand. Excuse me. That would include, your website, marketing materials, and everything else, you see visually, even something you hear as well. Everything you see, feel, hear from the brand, any sense that you use is basically part of your brand. So these are all different things you need to consider when you're growing your brand. So that's a bit of a high level overview of brand and branding.
Wow. No, I mean, I totally agree. And, those are very important because like what you said earlier, I'm going to go back to that. You mentioned that a lot of people out there, they only see the tip of the iceberg. I want a logo, I want a website, and I want to be online, utilizing every social media, and I want my message out there. But I love what you explained, that there are so many more that we need to consider, right? There are so many more that we need to put focus on, and that is building the right foundation. And that's in the tip for a reason, right? So from the roots going that way. Wow, Jacob.
Yeah.
That is so valuable.
I love there's so many different metaphors we can use or analogies depending on how you spin it. But, the brand is like an iceberg, right? Everything's below the surface, and what you see is, the tip. It's also branding is like a car. Without an engine, it's not going to go very far. So the paint job is, the logo and identity. But what's going to drive your brand? Is it your, it's all everything we spoke about before, or is it a house? You need a solid foundation to build your house up or your empire up. So there's a lot of different, metaphors we can use here.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. I love the car.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Jacob, last question. All right. And I know that, because I know you and I just want your perspective for all our viewers and listeners out there. All right. I will step further back and ask you this question. In your perspective, in your expertise, and in your journey, can you explain what branding really is? You've given us points, bro. You've given us points, that is very useful in starting something to focus on a foundation. But for all our viewers and listeners, give us a context of what branding really is. Because I have a feeling you would give us like valuable insights, out of the box insights of what branding really is.
All right. Well, first, let's define brand, right? What is a brand? So I love Marty Neumeier's definition. It's a gut feeling about a product or a service. That's what I resonate with. So what is branding? It's the management of that meaning. How do you manage the meaning of that brand? So that's the simplest version of it.
Love it. I was waiting for you to say that. Godfather, man, Martin is just amazing. I'm praying that one day I could invite them in the show and just play around with that guy. And I watched your podcast, bro. You've had him in your show, right? And it's just amazing.
Marty's great. Yeah.
Watching all of
you
guys.
Value.
Amazing. All right. So guys, there you have it. Powerful perspective, tips, insights from an awesome human being, Jacob Cass. Thank you. Thanks,
mate.
So much. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
We're not done yet, bro. No. We're not done yet. I'm not letting you go. It's now the part where we will play a game. All right?
All right. Love games. Let's do it.
We call this game the Creative Fast Talk. We will ask you, and I say we, it's me. I'm going to ask you, questions, and you are not allowed to spend time in thinking what the right answer is. The first word that comes into your mind, shoot. Okay?
All right. I'm nervous.
All right. Branding will not help you in this game, brother.
It won't.
Oh, by the way, you need to be totally honest.
All right. I'll try my best.
So, that's the first lie you said. All right. Question number 1. Don't worry. We'll start easy. Question number 1. Okay. Sun or snow?
Sun.
Structure or chaotic?
Structure.
Love or money?
Love.
If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
Lion. Because they're courageous.
Okay.
And they look pretty cool.
All right, next. Popcorn and movies or dinner and dancing?
Oh, dinner and dancing.
Nice. Passenger or driver?
Driver.
The mountains or the beaches?
Beaches.
What are you afraid of?
Oh, public speaking was the first thing that came to mind.
Really?
Yeah. I did one like 10 years ago. I did a TEDx talk, and that was the last live public speaking I've done since 2011.
Oh, okay. That's new, guys. That's new. Favorite color?
White.
Oh, I was expecting pink.
It did come to mind first, but I thought that'd be too cliche. That's my brand's color.
Yes.
White. I like the white canvas.
All right. Okay. Next, movies or books?
Movies.
All right. Your top 3 movies of all time.
Ooh. Transformers. I love. That came up there. I like the Lord of the Rings series. I don't know if that classifies as one. And The Matrix was another one that's always stuck in my mind. Or Inception too. Oh, that's another great one.
Yeah,
there's a few.
Yeah.
Blockbusters, they're generally my cup of tea.
Love it. You mentioned Transformers. You mentioned Transformers. Who's your favorite Transformer?
Oh, it has to be Optimus, but...
Ah, come on, man.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Next, soap or toothbrush?
Soup or toothbrush?
Bath soap or toothbrush?
Oh, bath soap. I think you said soup. I was like, wow, that's really strange. A toothbrush?
Okay. What is your dream superpower and why?
Oh man, flying would be awesome.
Why?
Just to, fly.
Float, just go and you can see everything. Right.
Yeah, traffic, and there's no like, you can just go anywhere you want. Like I love travel, but I hate travel, like the travel part of travel.
So you want traveling, cool. But I get that. Right. Next question. What is always inside your bag when you were a kid?
I have no idea. A pencil case. A pencil case.
That's nice. Very artistic.
Yeah. That's all I can remember.
What was the weirdest food you ever tried?
Crickets was pretty weird. That was tarantulas. That was pretty weird.
Wow.
Yeah,
Can you
spiders.
tell us a story? How did you try to eat? What happened? Why did you end up eating tarantulas?
Well, they eat insects in Vietnam and a lot of places in Asia. So yeah, we tried them on the street food. And that was the experience.
How was it? Did you love it?
It was crunchy. I had the legs. I did not eat the middle part of the spider. I couldn't do it. But yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't have it again.
There you have it. That's the answer. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Next question. The old school cinemas or the modern Netflix?
Oh, I love the cinema. Yeah.
All right. Okay. This last question, Jacob, is a traditional question here in the show. This could be something serious depending on how you will take the question. All right. The question is, if you have the power to bring back someone back from the dead, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. Paul Rand was someone that just came to mind. He was a strong logo designer. I resonated with his work, when I was studying design, and it would be cool to meet him. And that was the first person that came to mind in terms of like the design world. That's where my headspace is right now.
All right, I'm gonna follow up with another question. Remember when I said that? Imagine we're inside a coffee shop. So you bring back him back from the dead. He comes inside and he say, "Hey, Jacob, what's up?" What is the first question you would ask him?
What's the most you got paid for a logo?
Ooh, okay. Very nice. Very articulate questions.
Very.
There you go, guys. Jacob, thank you so much for, spending the time here in the show, answering silly questions, giving us value after value, knowledge after knowledge. Bro, I know you have a lot of things happening, any social media accounts, releases, projects, events online. Please do promote them. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. There's pretty much all my social handles are Just Creative. So you can find me there. My domain is also Just Creative. There is a free bundle of goodies on there for people that subscribe. So you can get hundreds of different branding and design resources, like free ebooks, to help grow your business, to help it thrive. There's a ton of them, like literally hundreds of different resources in there. So if you want to get a freebie today, grab it at justcreative.com, and that's it. Feel free to hit me up anywhere. I'm on all the socials.
There you go, guys. Please do connect with Jacob. I'm sure he can help you achieve success in your journey. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jacob, so much.
Thank you. A lot of fun, mate. Thank you.
Guys, this is Jan Santos. Have a positive outlook in life. Smile. God bless.
Thank you for being with us here on the Creative Talk Podcast. I'm your host, John Santos. Don't forget to listen and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. See you again, always.